Hello, welcome back to Beyond the Veil background information. We're doing a culture video, which, as you know, means basically it's relating to my story world. So it's it's just for the story world. So you don't have to listen to it unless you're interested. And this time we're talking about veil fashion. So let me just go into that. It's amazing, isn't it? That slim black dress can do wonders to show off my figure, and somehow it always seems to be in style. It's also my favourite dress, I must admit. But when your whole life is about being visually feminine, it's amazing what good fabric can do to help that. Quote from the King Lizard. Fashion in the veil has always changed and always been very similar to the fashion of the world beyond the veil. As time goes, as time As time has gone by, those with money have always set the trend in fashion for others to wear, and just when it seems everyone is catching up, they slip into the next layer. As time has gone by, fashion in the veil has come to a crux wherein purely for design and actual fashion exists as the top levels of all styles that exist. Those purely for design display features used to show what can be done and how it can work on the body. It is not wide released fashion and has great similarity to the fashion shows beyond the veil that tend to be more related to design and social meetings than what anyone could ever walk down the street in. Now, actual fashion is a development within the veil that has been building up to great heights of facility, mixing through functionality, availability, and whether it's responsibly sourced and also green in manufacture. Unlike the world beyond, sweatshops and mass factory production are not an issue within the veil, as many clothes are duplicated through magical processes, often by reformed demons, to ensure there is no abuse in the system, and well, it's been that way since mass production was necessary during the mid 1800s. However, since about 1998, there has been something very unique to veil fashion that sets the tone for colours each season amongst high fashion, let alone some of the styles, and that is the shedding of King Lindworm Calyx's layer each year. The colour underneath is the colour of the season, and the old skin is used to make the top piece of fashion that Calyx showcases in Milan, which is still the fashion capital even in the veil. With many layers to them and growing fresh skins each year, Calyx is a supermodel that has managed to build up a brand during the 80s with their unique build and androgynous looks that mean, depending on which designer they give the skin to, determines whether it will be men or women's fashion. Calyx themselves has a catalogue that is definitely considered the most valuable catalogue of fashion, with celebrity and special student designers as well as competition designers creating fashion that will be worn that season, and of course the androgynous clothes that Calyx likes to wear. Aside from Calyx, the other famous and big houses include the House of Bat, the premier vampire tailors and designers that have designs from capes to suits for vampire elite. That they've been doing for centuries. They've recently branched out to the more modern markets and developed for children, and have even played on the vampire pop culture aesthetic by selling capes for all ages and people. Next to them is Furbank, the shapeshifter specialist that initially created clothing that was versatile and easy to shift out of, or to hide and carry around. When they eventually included demonic threads that meant the clothes would magically disappear and reappear when transforming, the company was just looking after their own. The company that was just looking after their own suddenly became huge throughout the veil. They began to develop fashion for werewolves too, as the market was huge for clothes not to get shredded, and soon it became rather high fashion to own disappearing clothes, but also an essential that can be purchased anywhere. They try to develop designs for all styles of clothing, from underwear to swimwear, for the needs of anyone shifting, and they are exceptionally popular and affordable, where House of Bat and Calyx can be a little on the pricey side. Amongst the women's fashion for evening wear, the biggest name is the Mordecai label. These were originally a family of werewolf hunters that actually used the skins of the werewolves they killed for vampire fashion, and the same with snake skins. They moved into handbags and shoes, and then built up into a faux fur and faux scale system as they developed into something that was all about the hat, the bag, the shoes, the belt, the clothing for the most important red carpet events. They have turned away from their old ways as furriers and actually are well known for working with charities for members of the snake and the werewolf community to repay what was done originally, and they are big for putting on a howling gala where where everyone who's anyone has to appear, but have to appear with a werewolf companion. Their support for the Vampire King Malvolio is incredibly big, and they had often found a wonderful vampire celebrity model for the charities in Malvolio's son Wolfgang and his werewolf partner Vance, particularly the recent explosion in the black PVC trousers and mesh shirts, with a with a beautiful white jacket more likely seen on a three-piece suit sitting more likely seen than a three-piece suit seen over them at recent events. It's rather unusual what flies in the veil, but at red carpets lately, the trend for almost fetish is getting quite popular, with Mordecai label producing new line recently of risque underwear and nightwear for all genders and body types. The most common fashion labels are, of course, the brands attached to the supermarkets, and though cheap, they are from basic but still incorporate the calyx colour and style for the season, making more affordable and similar, if not more functional forms to it. Of course, being cheaper means the amount of magical production is not always great for durability, and so these clothes are often the ones to wear down first. But amongst the biggest supermarkets tend to often share but amongst them, the biggest supermarkets tend to often share a similar brand that goes under the name Aslan, particularly for the pieces made in Turkey, which is a big production hub, and Sonata, which is handled by one of Calyx's own former designers they would wear clothes for. Each season there is a fashion show in Milan, and for some, the new release of catalogues is the most important moment for social calendars to be worked around. Calyx's spring and autumn shows are the height of social calendars, and during these fashion weeks in Milan, there are also big events for costume, makeup, hair, and accessories, not to mention the huge label Taboo, specialising in adult wear, having a big festival and display. Since 2005, though, Calyx has pushed forward for 3 new shows to join these 2 weeks that have been taken off and developing fashion even more throughout the Vale. The first, of course, is the Drag Fashion Week, with many drag queen models and designers showing off their works as well as the makeup artistry, and it's been something that's been grown more with more understanding of drag queens and their competition development over the years. One of the stars of the 2021 one of the stars since 2021 has in fact been Fiona's Viper. This follows the LGBTQIA plus fashion stars, which allows for gender bending and the different takes on fashion for different preferences and genders. This one is particularly a spring event and has featured many celebrity models and designers, with one big competition each year to design what Theodora Viper is to wear to the April Vampire Gala, the most elite of elite vampire events. The third and final edition takes place in the autumn fashion time and is known as the Genderless Fashion Show, displaying clothing that is bucking the trend and showing off the versatility and creativity of those outside of the binary genders, with many having their first time to don their choice of clothing for what is often a carnival of colour and individuality. With Calyx being agender in nature, they have used it to put money and awareness into those outside the gender binary, as well as money into charities to help chimeras and particularly intersex awareness. This show has been very important for putting out awareness for transgender and intersex, particularly as separate issues within the bout, and also it has been a great way to encourage exploration and remove the restrictions of what men and women wear through total self-expression and exploration. Girl fashion has come a long way, and to be fair, there are not many fashions that are considered taboo or unsuitable, although influenced always by the things worn by the elite and television characters. Not to mention beyond the veiled influences, there has been a relaxing of the rules around fashion in recent years, and many giving up on ideas of pink for girls and blue for boys, or trousers and skirts for individuality and comfort clothing. But it still has many classic setups from with some styles of clothing, such as school uniforms and some of the styles worn by the noble circle. For example, Typical Viper is a man of 3-piece suits and waistcoats as a norm. Thank you for listening.